Last year, when I here was on the cruise with Yossi Zablanki, Destination 613, had the privilege to meet for the first time Rabbi Dr. Moshe Kranzler, who was then 89 years young, and he was there with his beautiful bride-to-be, Esther, from Staten Island, New York. Did I get it right? And this year, they're a married couple, and they're back again on their honeymoon cruise. So good to see both of you here on the boat again. So welcome.
Thank you.
Rabbi Moshe, let me begin with you. So how are you enjoying yourself? How's the honeymoon cruise going so far?
Well, so far it's going very beautifully. We're approaching our first anniversary, actually, and this is one way of us celebrating it.
Mazel, I just love being with you. Last year I had the privilege of being at your wedding in Monsey, New York. It was a beautiful event. You had a lot of simchas together. And if I remember correctly, you were here with your 92-year-old brother-in-law.
Right.
He's not here this year.
If he's not here this year, but he noticed the way that we were enjoying each other's company so much, he decided that he'd like to follow suit, and he ended up marrying somebody a few months ago, and he lives now in Deerfield Beach with his collar.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's really, really real beautiful to see. And it was nice to see you last year and good to see you. Thank you this year. Now, before I get to Esther, Esther was a well-known caterer in Staten Island, New York, and now you spend most of your time in Florida, right? So, but let me begin with you, because Rabbi Dr. Moshe Kranzler, you have an interesting history. You've been a rabbi for many years. You help people with their issues. You're not a practicing rabbi. You've been doing psychology for so many years, therapy.
Years.
And your brothers, who I knew interviewed, Rabbi David Kranzler and Rabbi Gershon Kranzler, they both wrote books, one on sociology, one on storytelling, so fascinating, and the Holocaust. In fact, one of your brother books dealing with Hasidim and Windsor, I think is a classic. Right. I enjoy reading them much. But you yourself has an interesting story. You grew up in Germany.
Right. I was born in Germany, and I left Germany when I was 10 years old, and we came to the United States. Except it was not as simple as all that, because my father had to flee in 1936, and the rest of the family was left there. And in 1938, he was able to get all of us, the rest of the family, out, except for one of my brothers, who stayed for another year after that.
Now, which brother was that?
Gershon Kranzler.
Now, why did he want to stay?
He wanted to stay in order to finish his doctorate, which he had almost completed, and not realizing the danger that he was in at the time, he decided it was worthwhile for him to stay and complete his work before he left Germany.
And which university was that?
University of Würzburg.
Würzburg.
Yes.
So what happened? Did they let him get his degree?
Well, it's a whole story. I don't know if you want to hear the story at this point, but it's a fascinating story which I tell to a lot of people, because it sort of teaches us the sincerity that a person approaches religion. With the sincerity that he approached religion, it had a tremendous impact, not only on him, on me, but on many other people as well. He basically finished his doctorate after we had left. He went to Berlin, and he had to take a written examination as well as an oral examination. When he came to Berlin, that was already in 1939. They told him that he would have to do his written examination on Shabbos. When he heard that, he said, "Look," he says, "I've never written on Shabbos, and I'm not going to start now." And he said, "I can't do it on Shabbat. You'll have to excuse me, because I wouldn't be able to do it." So they told him point blank that if you don't do it, you're not going to get your doctorate.
The Nazis are controlling.
The Nazis were obviously 1939.
They still let Jews attend university by 1939?
They still permitted that they were attending university. And he told them that he's going to basically start walking out. It seems that the Nazi who was there at the time had some rachmanis on him, and he said, "Look," he said, "I'll let you take it tonight. You'll take it after Shabbat." And he permitted him to take the written examination on Motzei Shabbos, and he wrote the examination, passed the examination, except, as luck would have it, Hitler came out with a decree on the following day that no Jew may receive a diploma, whether it's a high school diploma, elementary school diploma, or a doctorate, which my brother had completed. Nobody would get any type of a diploma. So he left Germany without, but thank God, safely, but without any diploma whatsoever.
He was able to get out in 1930. There was no difficulty.
He literally came out with the last boat. Literally, last boat.
What, he had a visa to the United States?
Yes, because the family was here already, so we were able to get a visa for him. He came to the United States, and he went to Columbia University. He told them the story that he had completed his doctorate, and he didn't get the university degree, but they said they could only give him credit for a bachelor's degree. They gave him credit for a bachelor's degree, and they told him, look, if you want a doctorate, you'll have to go right through the process once again. So he said, fine, I'll do it, and he started with a bachelor's degree, and he took a major in, this time in sociology. The original major was in philosophy and languages. This one was in sociology. And about 3-4 years later, he finished his doctorate, this time at Columbia. And life went on. A year or two later, after he completed the doctorate, we had a visit from a cousin from Europe. At the time, he was in Luxembourg. He was a professor at Lausanne University. And when he visited, my brother Gershon turned to him. He said, Lisa Kuno, he says, do you ever go, you still speak around Europe? You still give lectures? He said, yes. He says, well, can you do me a favor if you get to the city of Würzburg, where he was going to university? He said, do me a favor and check. It's very possible they may have my record. As you know, the Germans are very meticulous about records. So he thought that there is a slight possibility that they may find a record. Sure enough, a year later, he received his second doctorate retroactively. They found the records. They awarded him the degree, so he had 2 PhDs. Basically, and he was in Chinuch for many, many years.
Did he ask for a tuition refund from the university in Germany because they didn't give it to him right away? Do it again? I would have asked for a refund.
No, the truth of the matter is that there were compensations from Germany. I never received any. I don't know why, but
is that a matter of religious principle? You didn't receive?
No. I would have been happily would have taken it from them.
It's not too late, by the way.
It was my lawyer who messed up things. So my younger brother, and I never received anything, but he did.
You know, it's not too late. It's still possible.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
It's good to know that. Because I may follow through on that.
I'll put you in touch with the right people.
Thank you very much.
But no, listen, they owe restitution, and even if they messed up, you can still.
But that was the story of my brother Gershon. But anyway, the rest of the family came here in 1938. And when I came as a child, my father settled in Williamsburg because he felt I should go to Torah Vodaas. I went to Torah Vodaas for a number of years until Beis Medrash. They were very much against college, so I won't go through the whole story. But
what happened to Rabbi? They called everybody. Were you a little bit of a troublemaker there in Torah Vodaas?
Yeah, sort of. I was a little trouble. I was one of the first people who decided that I would like to go to college. And this was night school because they didn't permit any college. And I was with a group of young men in Torah Vodaas who decided that if Moshe Kranzler wants to do it, everybody else is going to do it as well. So they heard about that, and they called us in one by one to give us a little bit of musar and to convince us that we shouldn't go to college. This was already when we were in Beis Medrash. This was when it was past high school. Anyway, they called us in one by one. And we were first given a Musar Shmuz by Rabbi Quinn, who was the Mashgiach at the time in the Baal Musar. And then we had to go see Rabbi Menowitz, who called himself Mr. Menowitz, to see him personally for the final decision. Anyway, they went through the class, and finally it came to yours truly. It came to me, and when I came in, I got the Musar Shmuz like everybody else, and then I went into the office of Mr. Menowitz. When I came into the office, he says, Moshe says, I want you to go to college. So
I want you to go to college.
I wanted to go to college.
You must have been shocked.
I was not only shocked. I said, Mr. Wendell, she took away my whole speech. I said, I had the whole thing all prepared for you. He said, no. He says, I have a reason for sending you to college. He says, your brother, he says, came here to the United States. He has 2 PhDs. He's probably the first and the best mechanech in the United States at this point. He was the principal of Torah Vodaas, then Beis Yaakov on the east side, and then he became the head of TA for about 25 years. He said he's doing very much for Yiddishkeit. I want you to promise me that whatever you're going to do, you're going to devote some time to yeshivas. And I kept my promise, and throughout my professional life, I always worked one day in the yeshivas.
And where were you a rabbi?
I was a rabbi for the first 15 years of my professional life. I was a rabbi, practicing rabbi in Haverstraw, New York. I left the rabbinate because my wife was not very happy living in a glass house. And since I had gotten a doctorate while I was in the rabbinate in psychology, I was able to go ahead and to move very easily out of my field into the field of psychology, and I was a therapist for approximately 50 years in Muncie.
Wonderful. Let me turn to Esther, your bride. And first of all, Mazel Tov again. You're still within the year, so you're Melech and Malka, King and Queen. So good to see both of you. So you had a very successful career as a caterer.
Yes, we were caterers at the Young Israel of Staten Island for approximately 30 years. and exclusive caterers at that point. Staten Island was a growing community. Baruch Hashem, we were among the beginning people who started the community in Young Israel, among the first 20 families, and it grew to thousands, and it became, at one point, the largest Young Israel in all of the United States.
Wow.
He was also a very successful math teacher.
Oh, math teacher
Yes,
too.
my second.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's my first or my second profession, but I was a high school math teacher for almost 30 years.
Now, you're here in Florida. You're in Florida. You're also here on the boat. So the question to you is, since you're also a professional caterer, do you get the urge to go into the kitchen and look around, or
Not
an
at
urge? You
all.
didn't go look at the kitchen while you were here.
Not at all. I am just so grateful to
You're
be
not catering
a
at
guest,
all, right?
to be a guest. I reflect often upon the times that we did do catering, and every so often I look up and I say, can't believe that I did this for 20 some odd years, 30 some odd years. I am very, very thankful to the people on the boat, the catering committee, the entire staff. I think they're fabulous. The food's been fabulously marvelous, and I appreciate them. I would never, ever comment negatively on anybody catering.
Is the catering company still around? Is somebody else running it these days?
My daughter took over the catering company
What's the
when
name of
we
the company?
left approximately 12 years ago. She wanted it very badly. She tried out for it. They were very honest, the people in the Young Israel, and they took people who tried out to see if they would be the caterers, and she won out. And my daughter is the caterer at the Young Israel at this point. She caters elsewhere as well, and it's very nice to see it continued.
No, very, very nice. By the way, how did you two meet?
We knew each other for a long time. In Boca, we're both members of Torah Or. Moshe does tremendous amount of presentations and events and all kinds of things for the shul. I, as well, I was sisterhood president for quite a while, and also did anything connected with food and catering. I somehow got that job at Torah Or. And of course I would help Moshe, because just as a friend he would say to me, I'm doing this event, can you give me a hand? So we knew each other. And then unfortunately Moshe's wife passed away. A month later my husband coincidentally passed away, and Moshe was just very kind and called me. We were sitting a shiva in Staten Island. Moshe called and paid a shiva call over the phone, and he said magic words. He said, I'm just going through basically the same thing, and if you ever want to sit down and talk or whatever, I'm happy to talk to you. Fast forward, not going through all the details, Moshe is probably the best psychologist in the world, and I guess I'm prejudiced in saying that, but he is. And little by little, step by step, one baby step at a time, we got to know each other very well. And Baruch Hashem, we're at this stage.
Baruch Hashem. And I'll just close with, I think it's from Shlomo Kalbach. Shlomo Kalbach said it's about a wedding. Somebody said, I went to the wedding and the food was fantastic. The band played wonderfully. The decor of the wedding hall was great. He wasn't at the wedding. But if he said, thank God they got married, he was at the wedding. So thank God both you got married. Wonderful to see you here. We will look forward to celebrating many anniversaries together on the air.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you, Rabbi Moshe Kranzler and Esther. Thank you for being with Rabbi Doctor. I can't forget the doctor portion, because that's
wife
also.
will never let you forget that.
She's good. She's
Absolutely.
good. She does PR, public relations as well. Yeah, thank you. A much mazel and bracha.
Thank you.